Perfect. That's what I tell people.
Yeah. So I'm Nikki. This is Tiffany. And today we're talking about Side Door and the local element, which is my brokerage as a realtor and
my brokerage as a broker.
That's right. Yeah. So can you give us a little background on who are you, Tiffany Szakal?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. I have loved following the Side Door journey of things. So to be here talking to you about it and about real estate in general is just so exciting. So I'm Tiffany, like you said. I don't usually say my last name, but you said it correctly there. I started in real estate in 2001, which was a really wild time to start in real estate. Usually people think 2008's the wild time. No, friends. 2001 was quite a time. So I saw the lead up through title. We were doing closings during that time. The lead up to what happened with the bubble crashing. And so you see the interesting financing things that came through and where we were going with just bank statement closings and things like that. And so I was there and then I switched gears a little bit and did the HUD contracting. And so basically was representing the government during 2008 to 2012 for things that were foreclosed. Me personally, I closed over 5,000 of those homes during that time. It was wild. It was a definitely wild time. And then shifted a little bit to nonprofit, new construction, did a smidge of lending before I became a broker.
Wow, that's quite a journey. Yeah. So you were doing title. So you were closing on title work and issuing title policies.
And typing deeds with a typewriter.
Wow.
It was wild.
So you're like the OG of real estate.
There are people that have been in it longer than me for sure, but we've seen some things.
You've seen some things. Seen it all, done it all.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how would you describe Side Door?
Yeah. So I found you, and we'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, I'm sure, but describing Side Door is really, really nice because what you guys are doing are putting all of these different pieces of the industry together for somebody to walk through it and choose who they want to use along the way. So it's kind of like this self-guided journey of your real estate experience with the vendors that you want to pick and choose a la carte style for your journey.
That's great. I need to write that down so I can have my executive summary rewritten. How did you first get introduced to Side Door?
Yeah, so I thought we were coming to this.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I found you, and I said, what is this? So I don't know what happened last year, but I all of a sudden became very interested in what was going on LinkedIn and conversations about real estate happening in a professional, courteous way. And LinkedIn just happened to be that for me. And you can have really intelligent discussion and discourse and without feeling like somebody's going to call you a name in the comment section. And so when I saw your name pop up with an app, I was like, a real estate app is exactly what needs to start happening. And I know there's some bigger companies that are doing versions of this app, but what I saw you doing was trying to put all of these pieces together from my perspective of the real estate experience into one like very user-friendly interface through an app. And I was like, I need to know more. So I signed up for your newsletter because I needed to know what in the world.
Yeah. And then what happened then?
And then you were like, hey, who are you? What are you? And we had a great discussion, I thought, over coffee about the real estate industry, the real estate technology, what's going on with brokers and the National Association of Realtors settlement that was going on literally at that moment and what needs to happen next for consumers. So I was definitely intrigued.
Yeah. So I know we're talking a lot about Side Door, but also I want to talk about the local element and the brand you've built and the values of your brokerage and all those things that we talked about at that initial conversation.
Right. So I think that the future of real estate, and that's really what Side Door is driving into, is what it looks like for the consumer. It feels much more personalized. It feels much more localized. It feels much more community infused, and making sure that you have the right partners along the way, because there's so much technology happening, but technology is not going to replace that human component, that local component of what's going on. And so what I focused on when I left a bigger brokerage to start my own brokerage was how can we dive really deep into what's happening in the community and make sure that it's not just a transaction, because that's not what real estate is. Real estate is how you spend your Saturday mornings. It's how you go about interacting with your neighbors. It's how you choose what service provider you're going to use to clean your chimney out, and do they do the inspection and the cleaning at this, like those kinds of things. It's much more that happens. There's so much more that happens beyond that transaction. And so what we focus on really deeply is how to make local connections, because the real estate transaction we can do, that journey we can go alongside you with, but how do you live in that space? And that's what we really focus on. And that's what you and I had dove so deeply into as well, for community values and people values, and no jerks. We do not like jerks in our organization. And so making sure that those vendors that we're working with really reflect those values as well.
Yeah. So that's actually a core principle of yours is no jerks allowed.
No jerks
right?
allowed. We're so serious about it. It's our Wi-Fi password. So if you join us, you will now know the Wi-Fi password.
Or if you need Wi-Fi, just come to Tiffany's
Just
office.
hang
now
out.
you have the Wi-Fi password.
It's fine. We have other people join us all the time. They just sit in our office. They like hanging out with us, which is fine.
It's a good group. Yeah, you run things a little differently than any other brokerage I've been a part of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we really enjoy your Monday meetings. And after we had that initial conversation, I was like, well, I'm in. Like, let's do this. And you did something so powerful, I thought. You said, well, let's come run it by all the agents in the office.
Right.
So I basically showed up to your Monday morning staff meeting and pitched my idea. And the reaction of the agents in your brokerage was amazing. Yeah. I said, please don't hate me. This is what I'm doing.
This was the exact stance. I remember it almost like it was yesterday. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm not coming for your jobs. No. We are creating something different. And your agents just embraced what we were doing. Like, how can we get involved? What is our role? We want to be supportive of you. Yeah. We want to understand. So, yeah, I just think that's such a powerful culture that you've created.
Thank you. I am so impressed with their level of curiosity of things rather than judgment. Sometimes change can feel very overwhelming or make somebody feel insecure to the point where they need to close it off. And I think that through the different shifts that have happened in real estate that I've gone through, I've chosen to be curious about them and how does that look. And so I'm glad that that is also reflected in the conversation in our Monday meetings. And if somebody comes with something new, exploring all the different ways around it, and how can we celebrate you? How can we help lift you up? How can we cheerlead this project? Or if it's not an awesome idea, which was not the case for you at all, but if it's not an awesome idea, how can we navigate this or make it a little bit more doable?
Yeah.
Sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen that curiosity in you just in your LinkedIn posts, in your conversations, in the way you lead out those meetings of, hey, this company bought this company. This thing happened in the real estate world. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Real estate news is one of my favorite segments of that meeting. Well, we have a couple different segments. It feels almost like a podcast episode in itself for those, but real estate news. And I think it's important to pay attention to what's happening around the country because eventually it's going to make its way to us.
Yeah. Yeah. So in today's real estate market, technology is a big differentiator. How do you see Side Door app giving brokers or agents a potential advantage?
Yeah, so to answer that question, I think we need to go back just a little ways from that 2008 time. So what happened during that time were people did not feel like they were in control of their own real estate experience. There was a lot of blame, and I think rightly so, that were put on institutions that held the information. They held the decision making and the gatekeeping of the real estate experience. And so from there, a lot of technology firms wanted to shift the information and gatekeepers from the institutions to the consumer. So we see a lot of public facing sites now where you can go and explore your own public details, your own sale history, those kinds of things. And those public facing sites have been trying so desperately to put the entire experience into one app. And so what I think that you're doing really well is not only putting the entire experience into one app, but allowing them to choose the providers they want to work with. Because a lot of those other technology-specific companies choose the providers for you that you get introduced to. So for the consumer to be able to own the experience through one space and be able to choose who they want to work with, and for those professionals to be able to advertise effectively, compliantly, and in a space that they can negotiate and differentiate themselves from the competition, I think is really powerful for them as well. So as far as technology and what it looks like in this space, the power to the consumer is what looks like it's coming next. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And those are kind of the trends we've seen with the TurboTaxes and the Netflix instead of Blockbuster and all those.
The Ubers,
right.
all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we've leaned into for sure. How do you see this tool changing the options given to the local community?
Yeah, in that same way. They can keep access to those things for the service providers and be able to experience later on who they want to work with, or when they're ready to buy or sell again, going back to it. But as far as the local community is concerned for real estate specifically, a lot of agents interact with the first lender that contacts them. Being able to see a portfolio of options and pick and choose who you want to. So if you need somebody that's first-time buyer specific or investor friendly or whatever the situation is, you can see their provider options up front without having to go to the coffee or the lunch, spend an hour of your time listening to them drone on at you, which there are a lot of value in those things, but some of them I have been to have not been very valuable, unfortunately. But you can do those things up front for community providers before you physically go out and spend your very valuable time in front of them as well.
Yeah.
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 You have a thought.
I did.
Let's hear it.
Well, I was thinking, I love how you're able to envision Side Door for what it will be and what it could be, rather than the state it's in now. Because right now it's a very minimum viable product. But I just love that you are forward thinking of how it could radically change consumers and how it is, but consumers' experience of their real estate journey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just love that.
Well, everybody's still experimenting. My goodness, if you look at some of the biggest names in real estate tech, they're still experiencing and honestly failing fast at some of the things that they experience too. So you just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We've been through many seasons, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Already together. So as you've had a front row seat to me building Side Door and then Junior coming along and partnering, and my husband was in there for a while.
Yeah.
What have you noticed just in who we are, how we're building on a more personal note?
Yeah. I think something that I find to be very true is people are critical of other things that they themselves are critical of themselves with. But I would say the same thing for aspiration. So when you appreciate something about somebody else, it's very much what you are also aspiring to be. So I think your last statement is exactly what I would say is what I appreciate and have watched you go through is you see the vision of what Side Door is going to be, and you are growing towards that so tenaciously. And you are persistent and you are intelligent about the partnerships that you're making. And so what I have seen and been so inspired about is your perseverance through startup phase, through the growth phase, through the delivery phase. All of these things require those things. And so for you to appreciate that about me, I'll turn it right back around at you and appreciate it about you, because that's what you have been. And that's what the people that you bring alongside you have been as well. And you just have such a great support network around you too. So
Thank you.
Yeah. That's what I appreciate and have seen.
Thank you. So if you had one piece of advice for other brokers or agents considering side door, what would it be?
Yes. I think we've already touched on this, and I will say it again and again and again and again. Be curious. Be so curious, because what happens is whenever something new comes about in real estate is so slow to change. And so when something new does come up, the immediate response I have felt is nope. Yeah, and a shutdown. I don't think that it needs to be that way. Be curious. And that's why I spend time every week exploring what's happening in the news. When there were tech companies going and buying houses, I flew out to the market where that was at, and I wanted to experience it and be curious about it and go through the whole process of it. I signed up as a consumer through the Side Door app because I wanted to go all the way through the process of it and what does that experience look like. And so I would say for real estate professionals, know that there needs to be different ways that we are advertising ourselves in this age where consumers are in charge of the information and have access to the information and also interacting with the information, and be there and be curious about it. Don't just shut it down. Go test it out. Go test it out.
And I think to add, there are parts in the real estate journey that are uniquely human.
Absolutely.
You need the agents, you need the lenders, you need the title people, you need them. Yeah. And you need people there to answer questions and to engage in this process with you, right?
100%.
So, yeah. Wow. Any last thoughts?
I think that you should sign up. You should sign up for Side Door. And here's why. Not just on the consumer-facing side so that you can experience what that looks like, but it is an additional space and it is an additional tool for you, like you already said, because there is still the human component. Technology has not and will not replace this very emotional, very personal, very unique to that person experience. It will serve in the transactional way, but it won't show them where the coffee shop is on Saturday morning that they can walk their little doggo to and park it outside and then park it like it's a bike. I have a doggo. I don't park my dog. Anyways, and get your coffee and then go over here, and the service person that you're supposed to call for your chimney sweep. I'm going to talk about my chimney sweep apparently several times today because I just love him and his little hat. He's so fantastic. Yeah. But there's so much more. Like somebody relocating from California needs to know where to go get her hair cut. Yeah. Yeah. This is the human component of this, friends. So use the technology where we can to save the time that we need, because our time is so precious, and then make your connections. So sign up.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, for being open and willing to do this.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Junior, for joining the team and all the good peeps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a wrap.